Good morning, YouTube people. This is my 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4x4 Limited. I bought this car in February of 2016. It had right around 35,000 miles, and I drove all the way home from Kentucky after flying there, one way, in a day. This car has been my daily driver ever since. And aside from the normal things like oil and tires and a fuel injector and transfer case and the evaporator coil and the condenser coil and a rocker arm and the oil cooler. Am I forgetting anything? Anyway, it's been a great, reliable car. No. And to add to the fun, I've recently started to see oil on the floor again. So I took it to the shop that fixed the rocker arm and the oil cooler, and I was hoping that maybe when they replaced the oil cooler, maybe they didn't tighten one of the fittings or something, and maybe it was leaking oil from that again. No, alas, the time has come. My rear main seal is the culprit, and after getting an estimate of nearly $3,000, I decided, no, I'm not doing that. So today, I'm going to go through an oil change, and I'm going to add some rear main seal in a bottle. And we'll see if it actually works. Ben's home from school, so I've been parking outside in the driveway for the past several days. And as you can see, we got some oil spots here on the driveway. Thankfully, it's not a terrible leak, but I don't really like it leaking oil all over the floor. I've got some cardboard underneath there, but personally, when I go to my friend's house or anything like that, I don't want to be the guy that leaves little oil spots everywhere I go. So I'm hoping that this will fix it up. If not, then I have some other tricks I might want to try, and I'll show you when we get into this. But for now, I gotta shuffle some cars around to get into the garage, so stand by. Alright, she's up on ramps, ready to go. So I bought some high mileage Mobil 1, got a Wix filter, and for my rear main seal in a bottle, I went with Blue Devil. So I watched a video. If you've never seen Todd on Project Farm, you need to check him out. He's got some pretty good review videos. He's not sponsored by anybody, so you can kind of trust what he has to say. Some of the top products that he had for seal repair liquids, and they weren't really available here in my local area, and it seemed like some of the effective ones also lowered the viscosity of your oil, made parts wear a little bit more. So I kind of went down the list of things that were available, and Blue Devil happened to be the one that was highest rated but also available right here in town, so that's what I ended up with. I encourage you to check his video out if you're going to do something like this. There was another product that was available, I think it's called AT205. You can order it from Amazon, but I was in a hurry, so here we go. I may change the oil after about 2,500 miles or so, just to get this stuff out, because it seemed like it made bearings that he tested wear a little bit faster. But for now, we're gonna see if it does the primary job of repairing my leak. All right, step one, let's drain the old oil. Okay, welcome to the underside of this vehicle. Come around. All right, so I'm going to show you what we see. All right, so right here you can see oil dripping off of the pan right by the plug. And of course, when you're driving down the road, the wind blows it onto the skid plate. You may not have the skid plate, but it blows all the way back there and gets all over everything. But of course, the problem that I'm trying to address is that it drips on the floor of my garage, which I don't really like. Now, you can just add this product to your oil at any time. I was due for an oil change anyway, so we're gonna kill two birds with the same stone. Alright, let me get you set up and I'll get into it. Alright, get my drain pan in place. This is a 13mm socket, so if you have a 2014 or any of the others with a Pentastar of this era, that's your drain plug size. So like I said, I did take it to the shop that repaired my... Oh, they boogered this thing on. Oh, there we go. I took it to the place where they replaced my oil cooler, and they did assure me that they cleaned everything and checked, and sure enough, it is the rear main seal that's leaking, not any of the fittings on the oil cooler or anything like that. So that's why I'm here to the rear main seal in a bottle point. Get all this oil out. Whoop. Looks pretty good for 10,000 mile oil. And I did not grab any shop towels, so winning. Alright, I'll be back. Back with a box of rags. And this is about done, so just in time. Alright, so clean this drain plug up. Alright, I think that's going to be good enough. Put the drain plug back in. Tighten this back to a reasonable tightness. Doesn't have to be very tight, just enough to keep it from leaking. Not that you would ever know that it was the drain plug leaking and not the rear main seal, but whatever. Okay, so now I'm going to take this skid plate down because I have a feeling there's probably holding some oil in here. Let's see. Oh yeah. Get a clean rag and I'll show you. So right here on the back part of this skid plate, I think it's holding oil. Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to take this off. I won't be able to tell how effective this is being with this here and full of oil. And like I said earlier, if this doesn't work, I'm thinking I can put some sort of absorbent material right here over this access hole that gets you to the drain plug, and it'll just catch it, and we'll pretend like it's fixed until the next time we change the oil, in which case that will be completely soaked. But you know, at least we keep the garage floor dry. So hoping this is the same size. Oh, it is. Ooh. Let me get you in here. Here's what the skid plate was hiding. Oh wait. It is quite oily up in here. And here's the skid plate. It has a good bit of oil on it as well. Let's see here, it's quite coated. Yeah. So I'm going to clean all this up, and then we'll refill the oil and add the snake oil and see if it helps. Oh yeah. Oil everywhere. It'll look nice and shiny when I'm done now. Got a nice oil sheen on it. Gross. So if you're wondering why it's such an expensive repair to replace the rear main seal, it's a lot of work. You have to drop the transmission so you can get to the back of the engine. You have to suspend the engine because you're going to remove the oil pan to get to it. So on this particular model, I think this piece is in the way, so there's a lot of jostling of the engine and stuff to be able to get it out, to get to the rear seal, to change the rear seal. Yada, yada, and so forth. The part is cheap. The labor is extensive. Alright, so my main goal here is to get rid of all the oil that's drained here recently so that we can get a gauge on the effectiveness of this product. So I'm not going to put the skid plate back on. Don't really plan on going off-road anytime soon, so I can go without the protection of the oil pan skid plate for a little while. Plus that'll allow the drip to show up faster, plus I can more easily get in here and inspect. So I encourage you to subscribe to catch the next video when I gauge the effectiveness. I'll do one after a week or so, maybe after a month or so. Quick videos just to catch you up on how the old girl's doing. Talked a little bit about mileage when I bought it. It had just under 35,000 miles when I bought it. It now has about 179,000, so all in all, it's been a good vehicle except for, the major repairs. That's kind of just part of owning a Jeep, or maybe just owning any Chrysler. This engine is the same engine that goes into all V6 Chrysler products. The Pentastar. It's got a lot of good features, but that Pentastar tick, which is what they've belovingly come to know it as when a rocker arm in the valve train, the bearing gives out, and the next thing you know, you've got rocker arms rattling around in there, not actuating valves. If you let it go long enough, you'll get a check engine light and you'll actually get a dead cylinder because now the valve's not actually doing valve things. So if you hear a ticking noise, that gets faster with acceleration coming out of your 3.6 Pentastar Chrysler engine, get that addressed. The sooner you get to it, the less damage you got, and the cheaper the repair will be. Okay. Just going to tighten these bolts back up just to stay while the skid plate's out. And next we're refilling. So I will say that the oil filter design on the Pentastar is where Chrysler did everybody a huge solid, because the oil filter is right here. That's the whole oil cooler thing I was talking about earlier. It circulates oil up in the back. It flows it through this oil cooler device, which is hidden underneath all this intake stuff here. There's also coolant that flows through there, so some of the heat from the oil dissipates into the coolant and then goes back down into the engine, circulates around, does oil things. But the filter is right here, which is very nice because there's no mess. You take this cap off, pop the filter out, replace the O-ring, put a new one in, and you're back at it. So this is a very large one. I think it's 7/8. Let's find out. Here's my 7/8 inch socket. Nope. Here's my 15/16 socket. 15/16. Get some gloves. Voila. There's the oil filter element. Still got a good bit of oil in it. Let that drain for a second. Now the one that comes from the factory, the oil cooler unit that is, it's made out of plastic. And that's where your cracks happen. That's where it starts to leak everywhere. It basically fills the whole area up on top of your engine, and then it flows down the back, and you end up with a mess. Just grab this thing. All right. I'm going to take this old element out, set it here temporarily, clean this off. All right, so this O-ring here gets replaced every time you change the oil. Probably unnecessary, but when you buy the filter, it comes with it, so why not? All right. New filter. New O-ring. I find the easiest way to get this O-ring off is to take a flathead screwdriver, carefully slide it in behind, and then just pull it off. And the installation of the new one is quite easy. You just roll it on there. Make sure it doesn't get too twisted. I don't think it really matters. It'll untwist itself. There's a little channel that it slides into right here behind the threads. Clean that off a little bit more. Need a new rag. The new filter element just snaps in right here on that centerpiece with a snap. And now you're ready to drop it back in. All right, so installation, reverser removal, just slide it down in there. Give this a spin. And again, with this, we're not trying to muscle it on there. We don't need to get it too tight. Just enough to snug it down and keep it from leaking. Again, not that we would know it, because leaks are everywhere. Little whoop, and that's it. This generation of Pentastar takes 5.9 quarts of oil with a filter change. I don't know the years of this particular generation of Pentastar at the moment, but you're looking at them on an overlay right now because I looked it up. Pro tip, this jug of oil is about $33 to $35 depending on where you buy it. It is only 5 quarts, which means you need an additional quart. The single quarts cost about $10 to $12, which is way more per quart than buying the 5-quart jug. So do what I do. Make yourself a little mark right here just above the 4-quart line and pour till you get down there. That way you know that you have enough and you can save this for a later oil change. All right. So 5.9 quarts means we just go all in on this one. And on my second jug, I have made a 0.9-ish mark. And I'll just do a little guess. That looks about a quart-ish. And if you can see it, the level's about right here. So I'll add a splash more. There we go. Okay. I think we're about good on oil. Now it's time for the magic juice. It reads right here, Blue Devil works as a permanent repair. I don't necessarily believe that. But instead of $2,800, I'm very willing to spend the $20 that I spent on this. As I said earlier, the Project Farm review showed that this stuff, it seems to separate from the oil. So I suspect that it'll probably look a little milkshakey when I change it in a little while. And his lubricity test did show that it lowered the protective quality of oil alone. So I don't think I want to leave it in there very long, but hopefully long enough to do its job. While I'm in here, I'll give my air filter a little look. If I can find the clip. There we go. 1, 2, got it. Give the air filter a peek. It looks decent-ish. I think I can mark it for the next oil change. We'll just bounce it on the ground a few times. Some of the bigger bug chunks out. Just toss it right back in there. Next time. Now you can just remove this cap to get to the oil filter, but that's it's kind of hard to do when you're up on ramps because you're already way up here. I mean, I'm reaching over to get in here, and I'm 6 foot tall, so this seems a lot easier to just remove this whole thing, and it just pops up, no screws, snaps back down, good to go. One final step here is to reset the oil minder. So to do that, you put it into run mode. Don't put your foot on the brake so it doesn't start. Alright, and you're going to go to, yeah, it's okay, it's a Grand Cherokee, got it. Go to the maintenance section or the vehicle section. As you can see, it was due for an oil change. Alright, to reset this, I'm going to push the accelerator to the floor 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Boop! 100%. Alright, that's it. Most of the reviews that I read say let it run for about 100 miles. Maybe a week. So my drive back and forth to work is about 20 miles each way. So I should hit that pretty quick. So probably by next weekend I'll have some sort of update for you. Challenge is going to be being able to see if I have new drips. It is outside. Maybe I'll put a piece of cardboard underneath it and weigh it down with some bricks so it doesn't blow away in the wind. We are expecting some rain here pretty soon, so cardboard will get wet, but should still be able to see if there's oil on it. I suspect I'll probably get a drip or two for the first several days before this stuff has a chance to go through and swell the seal and make it stop. We'll see what happens. If you stuck with me this long, sure do appreciate it. Hope that you liked it. If you do, hit that like button for me and remember to subscribe and let's see what this does. Catch you later.